Hey everybody, this is Eric Arteche, and I am in beautiful sunny Southern California. Currently, it's about 60 some degrees outside, a little windy. Um, it's about 10:30, so it's not quite so sunny, but usually it's pretty sunny outside. Um, anyways, you're not here to get the weather report. You're here to listen and learn about my leadership journey. Um, After reading through the book by Maxwell, I kind of realized that I've only ever really gotten to level two. Part of that is because I've not really ever managed anybody. I managed for about a year in my current company, and then when we decided to move to California, I took a step back and went back to the previous role that I'd been in. However, I feel like I've gotten a lot of experience. I've had some pretty good managers who trained me and helped me realize that I was um, management ready and management capable. Um, but what I also realized is that when you are trying to manage a large group of people, in my case, about 18 plus women, um, it's really difficult to manage all of the different personalities, all of the different abilities, and keep sanity. And there has to be a cap. There has to be some sort of cap on the number of people that you manage. And managing 18 people really isn't, um, it's really not attainable for anybody. And so I kind of realized that that was uh, extremely overwhelming. I took on everybody's stress and anxiety and brought it onto myself. Um, Not to mention all the other things that were going on in life. I think as a leader, you have to realize that you you can't just leave your personal life at the door as much as you would like to, as much as you would like to um, kind of check the baggage at the door and move on with your day. You bring it to work every day, and so does everybody else. And it takes an emotionally intelligent leader and somebody who's willing to acknowledge those things to lead people forward. So, in the short time that I managed, I felt like I was able to forge a lot of really great relationships with the people who worked for me, the women who worked for me. There's several that I was able to encourage to do a better job. That's really how I tried to approach things. I tried not to approach things in a authoritarian view. That's not how I am. My dad is very authoritarian, and I at times as a parent am very authoritarian. So I tried as a manager to not be that way. I tried to be open and kind and gentle. Um, I don't know if you can see behind me, but that's actually our family list of things that we care about. I know I talked about that in one of my posts earlier this week. And on there, it talks about how in our family we are kind and we are gentle and we listen to each other. And I actually tried to teach that to some of the women that I worked with because I think at times when you work in a department, it doesn't matter what size, a lot of that gets lost and gets missed, and kindness goes out the door when you're trying to push for numbers and you're trying to push for sales goals. Um, and so, as a leader, I tried to encourage kindness. I tried to encourage listening to one another, trying to be understanding, trying to be helpful, um, because that's how I was. I was always trying to be helpful. I was trying to push people to become better human beings. Better employees, better parents, better kids, not just to drive our numbers, but for uh, their own personal lives. Because I think that's more important. You know, our jobs take up 8 hours of our day, but the rest of the time we're with our families, hopefully, or we're doing things on our own. And so um, the work person is only one part of who we are, and when we forget that, we can't lead properly. Like I said, I couldn't check my baggage at the door. They couldn't either, and so I tried to encourage them on bad days to sometimes let that go. And when people were having really bad days, I encouraged them to go home or encouraged them to go take a walk or find some time to be quiet. So as much as I feel like I only reached level two, I feel like if I were to get into a management role, um, I could easily fit into level three or level four. Um, a little bit about my background in the company. I've worked there now for 9 years. I worked there for 7 before I started managing, and I kind of made myself available to everybody. I was able to answer questions. I made myself an expert in a lot of things in the work that we do, and so people were able to trust me previous to becoming a manager. But then once you become a manager, everybody looks at you differently. And so trying to figure out how do I not just be seen as different, I'm still the same person, but there is a certain level of understanding that you have as a manager that you didn't have previously. And people aren't willing to talk to you the same. And that was really hard for me because I am a very interpersonal, interrelational person. It was really hard for me to accept that I wasn't uh, able to have those same conversations. Now there were some people who were really understanding and who did get that and who were willing to still um, have conversations with me and still be friends with me. But I lost a lot of relationships in that. But once I moved back to being in the same role, people still talked to me the same. We were still the same. But I also was able to help other managers, and even with my manager now, she trusts me in a way that she didn't trust, or she doesn't always trust other people because she knows that I've been in on important conversations or that I understand things more than other people do. So it makes it easier to have those conversations with her and also know that when I am working from home, she can trust me to do the work because I'm not going to fool around or not get the work done. So um, that's, a little bit about me. That's a little bit of my personal journey as a leader. Um, I've always felt like I've had very good managers. Even the chef that I worked for, who was kind of a not always easy person to work with. We always had a good time, and working in the kitchen was always fun, even when he was yelling and angry. But for the most part, it was a good environment. But it just I think as leaders, we've got to realize that people do look up to us. People look to us when times are crazy or when times are difficult to lead forward and to be strong and to be consistent. I think consistency is a huge issue that um, perhaps we haven't necessarily hit on recently in the course, but I think consistency when you are leading or when you are managing shows people that you are trustworthy and that you are going to tell the same answer to everybody, not just to the people you like or the people you don't like. And that was something I really struggled with. Because of the different personalities, I had to talk differently to each person, and sometimes the message wasn't always clear what I was trying to communicate to them. So I think going forward, I would love to lead. I would love to lead a small team of people. I can be very introverted, um, and as a result, I don't like large groups of people. I don't do well in large groups of people. I do well in small groups of people. Even at the residency, for those of you who I was able to meet, um, I didn't like being in the large groups. I liked being in the smaller, intimate groups, and I found that I was able to communicate better and more cohesively in those types of settings. So I think that um, having a smaller group, having a more intimate group of people to manage and to work with and to understand and to know them personally and to know them, um, their different emotional needs and my own emotional needs, and um, those things always seem to push me on to be better and push them to be better because um, I speak to them differently. I speak to them in a way that supports them in whatever decision they make, and they can trust me in those instances. So, um, yeah, that's that's a little bit about me. That's where I'm at. Yeah. I hope you all are doing well, and I look forward to meeting some of you through your videos, those of you who I haven't met before, and talk to you later. Thanks. Bye.